Hey guys, something a little bit different for you today. An unusual squadron battle match I found myself in that I'm just going to ramble over for a bit. I guess this is a bit of a weird flex video as I end up getting a lot of kills against clearly inexperienced players, but what I wanted to do is use it as an example of how to approach a fight where you're outnumbered. So I join this lobby and I find myself alone versus 5 guys. They all have similar pings, and I assume they've probably joined as a group, as I don't recognise any of the names. So I figure they are probably new players or all jumping into squadron battle for fun. I looked them up after, and they seem to be from a German-speaking corp called Celestial Resources Solutions Inc. So, good fight to those guys. So anyway, I pick my trusty NDB arrow, and I get to work. So the first thing I'm thinking about is, I know I want to string them out. As much as possible when fighting outnumbered, you're kind of reliant on your opponents making mistakes and not attacking in sync with one another. So in this case, I just slow down and wait for them to come at me and see what happens. And sure enough, this guy Legolas is charging in 3 kilometers ahead of his team, which is perfect for me. So he also shoots me from 2 kilometers, which is usually a telltale sign of inexperienced players. So you're wasting too much weapon energy at that range. Sure enough, now there's 2 more of them that have come at me. And this is basically the ideal scenario for me. 1v2 against inexperienced pilots I can handle all day. So if only they had stayed together. Most newer pilots constantly hold forward in PvP, so I'm deliberately keeping my speed low and my momentum rearward so they don't end up blowing past me when they come in. The great thing about the NDB arrow is that if you can force fights up close, you can absolutely shred your opponents really quickly. The CF repeaters are still better in intense duels against high skilled players, but in squadron battle the NDBs really shine when third partying or killing larger targets. You notice I dropped some chaff clouds throughout this early fight as they merge in and start to get damage applied. There's no real disadvantage to me doing this, especially since I'm alone, so there's no friendly targeting that I need to worry about disrupting, and it just helps mitigate a little bit of damage and forces them to play around the chaff cloud a bit. It just slows them down and disrupts them. So they've respawned now, and they still aren't really coming in together, so this is just setting me up for a sort of a rinse and repeat. I just take my time, regen boost, wait for them to arrive. I'm deliberately sort of trying to maintain a bit of distance here to give me the maximum time to regen and to also give them time to string themselves out at the engage. One of them has respawned in an Asgard, but other than shooting it a little bit on the first pass, I largely just decide I'm going to ignore it. It's too tanky to kill while I'm outnumbered, and too slow to pose any kind of real threat. I can just keep my distance from it. I shoot the Asgard till one of his friends alive, and then I largely just ignore it for the rest of the fight. Look how I just push away here as the Asgard finally catches up. This is the problem with heavy fighters and larger ships when they're trying to deal with light fighters. The light fighters can largely just ignore them. The Asgard doesn't have enough Gs to chase me. The Paladin will suffer from this problem as well when it comes out. It's just too stationary, it can't keep distance to a target. So this guy just gets absolutely shredded by the NDBs as we merge here. It's just really indicative of how powerful they are if you can land all of your shots with them, especially against small targets. So the Buck manages to get out here, and I'm just keeping an eye on him now because I know he'll be back in, and you can see the Asgard still just struggling to catch up to me, and so I don't have to worry about him either. So I'm just looking for the next target that I can get a kill on here easily. So as they approach here, I'm just slowly corkscrewing just to throw their aim off a little bit, mitigating incoming damage. At 1 kilometre, a slow corkscrew is usually going to be enough to avoid taking many hits unless your opponent's got really, really good aim and is compensating for it. So just a good practice thing to do in general, really, all the time if you're fighting against multiple targets. And watch as I just ignore the Asgard here and fly away from him. Poor guy. So it looks like I have a teammate now, and so I just nav over and need to go and help him out. They've sensibly opted for what they assume will be an easier target. My merge is not fantastic here as we come in. I've just carried way too much speed in, which as you can see here means I really struggle to kill this guy. So I just switch off, like he's gone. I'm going to waste time chasing him around, so I swap to a different target, recognising that my mistake and trying to do something else, and that guy quickly dies instead. What I have done here though is I've sort of inadvertently put myself right amongst them, so I've sort of done their job for them by putting myself in a position where they can all attack me. I'm also really low on boost from trying to compensate from that bad merge, so I just decide to disengage. I don't really want to fight all four or five of them at once. So what I'm kind of hoping here is that 1 or 2 of them will have chased me on my disengage, and it will split them up a little bit. And sure enough, it looks like 1 guy, 2 guys have taken the bait, and they come barreling after me. But again, this is a much more comfortable fight to take. I've got some boost back, so I'm easily stuck to just clean those 2 guys up. So the bug here makes the fatal mistake of turning while I'm still within a dangerous effective range on him. What the bug really needs to do is it needs to carry its speed into the passes it makes on its target, so it's got a forward momentum that it can easily disengage, and then once you're at a safe distance, then you can turn around and you can look for your next pass. But if you just turn around and try and raid fight in a Buccaneer, you're just going to die. This guy kills all of his momentum here, and that just means I've got loads of time to kill him. It's not a very tanky ship, and this is definitely not how to fly a Buck. Make sure you're taking your speed through the merge, carrying yourself out the other side, getting to a safe distance, and then turning around to start a new attack run. Another ship merge by me here. I think I'm probably just getting a bit complacent at this point, not really concentrating on it the way I should. I'm right in amongst them again here. You can see there's quite a lot of them all in front of me. I thought they might have collided actually. So I'm low on boost, so I just opt to disengage again. I'm getting kind of cocky here though. They've not been very good at applying damage on my disengages, so I pretty much just coast out rather than use any boost. I don't want to go too far. I want to be able to turn around and kill them. So I failed to kill that arrow there, and I decide to just swap onto the Gladius that I can hit instead. When you are fighting outnumbered, it's really important that you minimise your downtime as much as possible. You never want to be just like chasing after a guy that you're not killing, because it just means that your other targets can freely shoot you. You've just got to always be either putting pressure on or not taking any damage at all. Taking damage while putting no pressure on is a surefire way to get killed and lose. Grab the wrench here for good measure. I've still got a blue ship on my hood, but I'll have taken some hull damage because they were shooting projectiles at me at various points, so the ballistics will have done some damage to my hull, so I get the wrench just to make sure that that doesn't come back to bite me later. There's another shitty complacent merge attempt here that doesn't really work out for me, but fortunately he does the job for me and brings himself in nice and close. This is a much better merge here now. See how much faster the target dies when you stay within sort of like 300 meters of them with the NDVs. They absolutely shred. If you can nail your merges, you can really massacre people with them. A couple of them on me here now, but what I deliberately do is I try and keep the pip extended, so I push away from them and just slowly roll from side to side to mitigate that incoming damage. Just drifting away, looking to see if I can get a good merge on one of them. Which I do. He dies really fast because of some damage, and I've got just enough boost left here to go for this poor Asgard. Look, he's still desperately trying to do something. He's just not been able to do anything this whole fight, man. Like, this is the real problem with like big heavy gunships and heavy fighters, and why they're just not viable in PvP. They just can't get close to anything good. And there you have it. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an insight into my thinking on like resource management and decision making, and you know, when to run, when to stick in. You got to be constantly gauging your opponents, sort of assessing whether you think you can take a fight or not, and always looking to find a way to create an advantage for yourself as much as possible. Alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.